Hello, everyone. Margaret Hernandez here. So happy to be with you on this gorgeous Thursday afternoon. I am on the East Coast and am enjoying maybe like what could be a thunder shower in probably like 20 minutes, hopefully long enough for me to be able to stay outside. But I am here with my friend Lisa. Lisa, Lisa and I met through NABO, so shocker, the National Association of Women Business Owners. And I was just really impressed with you, and I just love your energy, and I know you have a lot to share. And so I wanted to give my friends and my community an opportunity to meet you as well. So that's why I asked you to be here today.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about how you started your business and a little bit about yourself.
Sure, thanks. Well, I'm also a big fan of Margaret, so anybody out there, holla, she's the best. We're kind of the two sides of the same coin because she's marketing and mine's sales. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, how did I start? Great question. I like to think of myself as a COVIDpreneur. So I started right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of COVID. And it is common in a recession for entrepreneurship to blossom for a whole variety of reasons. COVID was, I don't think, any different. We're starting to see all kinds of numbers coming out now of all the different businesses that launched. But this was actually a 10-year dream. So I had a career in interior architecture for 15 years, went back to school to get my MBA. And when I did that, I knew that I either wanted to be in the C-suite or have my own company eventually because I am very entrepreneurial. And so it took another 10, 15 years for that to come to fruition because, sometimes timing is everything. And the reason why I could do it in COVID, which is so fascinating to me, is that because we were instantly virtual, I didn't have to be in the city where all of my network lived, which was all around the country. So it allowed me to hang my shingle, start my services, test the waters, do some things, experiment, have fun. I really love running a company. It's really fun. It's hard, but it's fun. And it took off. It took
You had
off.
to add in that it's hard, but fun.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's now I'm 3. I just turned 3, so it's gone by fast.
Wow. 3 is big.
It is big.
Yep. If you can get through 1, it's like, okay, cool. Like you can like move to that next level.
Yeah.
Like having to weather all the changes and just the newness of like running your company versus working for a company.
Yes.
Which kind of also brings us to what I'm going to be asking you about in a bit about your company and what you do. And why don't you take a minute to tell us that? What do
Okay,
you
sure. So I am a sales consultant and coach. So I work with female and BIPOC executives who are either running their company or working in corporate America who need to apply sales processes and a sales mindset. So that varies, right? So for a small business, small to medium sized business, typically 50 employees or less, sometimes there are just gaps in the process or things they just were running or expanding, scaling fast, and they need help because they have a sales blind spot. And I come in, I do some analysis with them, we figure that out, we put a process together, and then they start making more money. Who doesn't love that, right? Or within corporate America, sometimes it's about using a sales mindset to be advanced in your career or do some of that soft skill training that you need to have a better conversation with somebody, negotiate better, be heard in corporate America. That can be hard. So I leverage both kind of in both environments.
I love that. So now that you've been in it for 3 years,
Yes.
tell me, what's your favorite part of being a business owner?
Oh, well, okay, hands down. I mean, my why is very clear. I want female and BIPOC businesses and executives to thrive. So anytime I see their success is a huge joy for me. That's why I do it, right? It drives me every day. So, and it is often the little tiny small things. It's the tiny light bulb or the aha moment and when they can come back and say, this worked, or I did this, or I'm making more money and I can really see now where I can take my company, that is what drives it for me.
Yes. I love that. I love that. So seeing their success, seeing them, and these are sales is not an inherent thing. I mean,
No.
that was, I feel like I can have a sales conversation, but I've been in this for 14 years now. and we've had conversations about
Yes,
my sales plan.
we have.
You know where my gaps are, and I'm sure
Right.
many of them are common, or maybe I have some that are different than others, but I know that when I'm sitting down with my fellow women business owners, it's always like, okay, what's the sales plan? Lisa and I met on at an event that's hosted every week called Empower Hour, and I actually get to lead that. And part of that is to provide 2 mastermind questions. And so if you notice, I do try to incorporate sales at least once or twice a month, because I
Yes.
know, as you said, business owners, small businesses lean a lot on marketing,
Yes.
and they want to put stuff out on social media, they want to advertise, but it's having those sales conversations, having those processes, that so I can see when one of us has an aha moment from something
Yeah.
you taught us, it's something pretty special.
Yeah.
So now my next question was going to be, how do you stay motivated? But I know, like, seeing the wins helps motivate you, but is there anything else that you do? I don't know about you, but I have days where I'm like, I have work to do, but I really just want to go sit outside and stare at the sky.
Yes. We all have that, I think, Margaret. Yeah. How do I stay motivated? Well, right now I'm still in the hustle. Let me be really transparent. I'm not making the numbers I want. So that, and part of that is because as a business, and this is the process, you've done this too, I know that.
Yeah.
I pivoted twice. I pivoted in this my service offering to be really specialized in sales, because it's everyone needs help, because we're not taught how to do it.
And you have a good framework.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you have a good you have it, this is not like, let's like toss things in the dark and see what sticks.
Oh,
When I got the chance to look at what you're doing and how you're doing it, you do have a process, and I think we
yes.
can all appreciate that.
Yes, yes. So, but I want to be really specific in that. And then the other thing is I pivoted to really understand that female executives and BIPOC executives are the people that I really want to work with. So
Mm.
because of that, when you make a change, what's great is you can experiment, but there are consequences for that. And one of those consequences is that business development dipped, because I wasn't necessarily targeting the people that I'm targeting now.
Yeah.
Right. And so right now, I will say, even at 3, the hustle is I want to make that revenue number, right? Like
Yep.
I need to
Yep.
do that. There will be a time when that won't be an issue, and I'll have other things that need to motivate me. But right now, that's a big motivator.
Right. And I'm assuming too that you have a desire to one day hire more, and to hire, other business owners to help you in your business, and whatever, wherever you need that. I mean, that's what I do. It's like, my goal is always, well, not always, but that is the goal for the company, is to employ people, to give them like the flexibility that I have,
Mm,
and to offer that to them, people who want to get into marketing, or work for a marketing company, or work for a small business and what they do. Maybe they're in sales, they don't know how to do social media, but
sure.
you can bring them on, like build out that team. And
Sure. Actually, my goal isn't. I really want to stay a solopreneur,
oh,
but I think maybe in parallel, not exactly the same, but in parallel to that, I
yeah,
do support a lot of other businesses and refer out to a lot of other businesses.
there you go. You're a
So it's kind
connector.
of yeah, it's like an ecosystem. So
Yeah,
although they may not be my full-time employee, yes, I want to build an ecosystem where yes,
yeah.
absolutely, other people
Well,
thrive.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's great too.
Yeah, right.
And
There's not one way. I was
there's
just talking
not
to
one
a
way.
a new business owner today who just launched, and I
Mhm.
said, I think we get into this mindset from the things we read and the things that we hear and what we're exposed to, that there's like one way to be an entrepreneur, and that's not how it works.
Right. To buy, to build this company and sell it, and if you don't do it, you didn't do it right.
Yeah, right,
And
exactly.
so,
Or you got to have scale, and you got to, you got to have
yeah,
an exit strategy, and you got to have all these employees.
right.
No, you don't
No,
need to do any of that if
no.
you do what's
If
right for
you don't
you.
want to.
Right.
That's right. That's right. I love that. And that's really important for all of us to hear, because I
Yes.
don't want anyone to ever feel less than, because they don't have that desire.
Right, exactly, and I think that that's the other reason why I really love working with small business owners is that they sometimes often have a vision that is unique to their industry, and that's still okay. Like if you can make it a viable business, right? Not
Right.
every good idea is a good idea, but if you can make it a viable business,
Yeah.
that's okay. We need diversity in perspective.
Yep.
Otherwise, what we are not going to make it.
That's right. And before I get to my next question, there's something that you said that's actually resonates with me right now. And just so you know, I am also in business development hustle mode. Uh,
Yeah.
but I've also have I'm launching and have launched just a new way of working with Socialize LA.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and it's a little scary, right? Because you're just
Yes.
like, how do I put this out there? How do I put this to market? Who so or is anyone going to want it? And I've already
Yes.
tested the waters and I know that they do and I know that it's work because I have a framework as well. And but you just you had said like I had to pivot and I
Mhm.
needed to and so how did you get around the um I don't want I this is the only word I can think of right now. I'll say the hesitation. Or was there a hesitation? Or was there a fear? Was there anything like that during that time?
When I was pivoting,
Yeah.
oh yeah, 100%,
Mhm.
100%. Like the thing I've learned to do is follow my gut because my gut is always right.
Mhm.
But the gut is going to give you like kind of like the macro view on the micro level. I'm like, I don't know if this is even going to work. I'm not even sure why I'm doing this, right? Like because yeah. So I knew that was the right thing to do, but when you don't see an immediate payoff, some things take a long time to pay out. It's like, okay, I'm going to have the faith, and then you just have to say to yourself, like, I'm going to allow myself to connect this, collect this much data, whatever you're doing, right? I'm going to test
Yep.
this for so long, and then there's got to be a point where you're like, let's do a litmus test. Is this really working or is this a fallacy, right? So I am, and there's upsets along the way. So, I launched this very specifically now, focusing on kind of female executives, female and BIPOC. And, but then I had a couple of things, happen personally. I had to take some time off. I relocated, I moved. And so, there's a dip. And so I'm just now starting to feel the momentum and, we're in Q3.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, but yeah, sometimes it is literally a continual leap of faith.
I love that. Well, you're inspiring me because I'm there with you.
Yeah.
There with you. And I actually also recently launched an even new initiative that has nothing to do per se with doing marketing for other businesses.
Yeah.
But it has a community aspect and where I'm highlighting women business owners in New York City.
Nice.
Yes, and it was kind of my way to give back to my community because
Yeah.
where did you move into?
So I was in the Twin Cities and now I'm in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, I don't know if
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty new. It's pretty new. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I was in Southern California and also now live in New York.
Right.
And it's been about a year and I needed something to connect me with the city. And that's what
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Community is so important.
Totally. And
Yeah.
then, the name of the show is Flex Your Influence. So
Yeah.
that's been my mantra for years and years, flex your influence, because I like to remind us as business owners that whether you have 10 followers, a community of 10, or you have a community of 10 billion, you have influence over someone and you can shed some inspirations, shed light, shed knowledge. And so I have to practice what I preach.
Yeah.
And so how do I flex my influence? This is something that I know how to do and I'm comfortable doing, and I better do it.
Yeah, that's great.
Do
I
it.
mean, that's amazing. I mean, we really do need to pay it forward. I think about that all the time,
Yep.
right? It's a village. I mean, I didn't get here by myself. There's all
Mhm.
kinds of other people supporting that. But,
Great.
I think that particularly women, non-binary, any minority, right? We need to work together, not be divisive and work separate from each other, because that is how we're going to be able to thrive and get to hopefully someday some kind of level equity field.
Yes. Yep. I love that. I love that. Well, I would like to ask you this question because as someone who has also had sales and a sales plan, sales strategy, sales consistency, proactive sales as a challenge in various times in my business, how do you motivate someone like me to reach out to you or to do the things that you're telling us to do?
Yeah, that's a great question, Margaret, because it's not easy. It's
No.
not easy. Even I hired a coach last summer and it took me a long time just to say, okay, I need to hire a coach, right? Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that big of a deal and she's fantastic. But at the same time, it's hard for us to admit that sometimes we need help or even take the time. Like I think is like, where do I start? Right. So
Exactly.
what I do is just try to put myself out there on multiple platforms just so that my content is accessible because sometimes it's just about timing,
Yeah.
and I think that when we are so busy working in the business, it's very difficult to work on the business. And that's the kind of work that I do. I do things that are like higher level working on the business so that you can make more money. So the easiest answer is when someone's sales are really dipping and slumping and they can't figure it out and they're in a lot of pain, that's when they call. Right. And I'll take any call anytime.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but that's typically when they call because it's just very difficult to say, hey, I don't have the answers. We're supposed to have all the answers.
We're supposed to have all the answers.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a
we
business
really are.
owner. I should
Right.
be able to sell my product and service like it's going, like wildfire.
Yeah, especially if you've been seasoned, right? Like, oh, I've been doing this 10 years, I shouldn't have any issues. Hey, things change all the time,
Yep.
right? So yeah, it's just I think I think there will always be a hesitation, and I think sales is a four-letter word. I think that people don't like to think about it, they don't like to talk about it. They think it's greasy and slimy and right, and there are a lot of bad apples, but we are actually, my philosophy is we are all selling every day. We just don't think about it in that context.
Right. Right. Well, I remember I had a sales job long time ago, and I was really great at it.
Oh, I bet you were.
But, when it comes to having that sales conversation about Socialize LA, it's almost like I don't want to force myself onto them. It's like, if
Exactly.
you need me, you need me. If I'm the right person, I am. If not, I honestly wish you the best. And that is not the way to motivate someone to take the step because it's not personal. It has a lot to do with what they're dealing with on their side of the table, whether it's a budgetary issue, whether it's a time issue, whether they
Right.
still don't understand
Right.
what is being laid out before them. Or
Right.
maybe we haven't hit the mark on this is the actual service they need. Maybe so there's so many, as you can see, I've done a lot of, I think about this and
I know you do.
but it is so important. And so Lisa, I have your website inside of the show notes, and
Oh,
if there's
great.
anything that you want me to add later, I can, because if
Okay.
someone wants to either like attend an event or work with you or book a call with you, I want them to have that opportunity, because I will tell you that I love Lisa's approach to sales. And if this is something that you're struggling with, having a conversation and just understanding where you are could be the very first thing. And then
Yeah.
it's like, then maybe you have to take a break and like digest it. I don't know, but I think one of the things that we need to do for ourselves as business owners is to not neglect anything.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I have, and we all get guilty of it because of time and everything and all the
Right.
pressures.
Right.
But
Well, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? Like you don't
right.
understand where the blind spot is. So I spend most of my time, I don't have a canned process. Like, so what's Margaret's talking about? I have, infrastructure, but
Yes.
basically when I work with a client, I'm trying to get them to see what I can see because I have an exterior perspective. I'm not in your business every day. So
Right.
it's really a discovery process. And some of it is just kind of bringing clarity and then giving you agency so that you can then go clear that up. So it doesn't have to be, sometimes they're really quick fixes too. So it doesn't have to be long and drawn out and super, super complicated. But you're right. It is kind of, sales is the underpinning of everything,
Yep.
And it's sometimes the thing that we spend the least amount of time on, which is kind of ironic.
It is crazy. It is crazy. So with that, I would like you to, do you have a tip?
Yep.
A sales tip.
I have a great tip. It's a brand new tip that I just learned from my sales coach, or not my sales coach, my coach.
Nice.
So, you would think that I would be like banging every sales, gold star in every category because that's what I do for my clients. But, I struggle too as a business owner. And so some of it I wasn't doing as much, outreach as I probably should have. And this is the way that my coach framed it for me. And I thought it was such an easy takeaway. So she said she was reading, this is from something else that I can't quote. So now we're going to be like, I can't quote it. I can't quote it. I can't quote the source. Send out 3 ships every day. So do 3 things a day that are going to drive your business from a sales perspective. 3, right? And then every day you send out 3, and some days you're going to get 9 back, and some days you're going to get nothing back. But if you're not sending anything out, if you're not doing any kind of outreach whatsoever, I'm not talking about the things that Margaret does, which is amazing, which is brand awareness. And,
I was going to ask you, what qualifies as a ship?
Yeah. So here's a ship. You're making some kind of an ask. You're trying to get introduced to somebody. You're introducing yourself to somebody. I'm not saying you're booking a meeting or you're making a sale, but, like connect with people who don't know you, but, try to, build those relationships that eventually over time will potentially give you business. Yeah. Those are the ships. So for me, I do a bunch of LinkedIn outreach every day, and that's my ships.
Nice. So your ship is not your LinkedIn post or your blast.
No.
That is not your ship. And guess what? For a long time, that was my only ship.
Right. And that's what most people's only ship
hide is. Behind it too, because we don't get a, it's like we got it out there, like
exactly.
And not to say that that's not good, because what those things do, what marketing promotion is doing, and your content is nurturing those people. So yes, you will attract and garner new clients and build relationships through your social media, but it is a slow grow. And it's almost like waiting for referrals to come in. That's another very slow way to grow your business. So sending out those ships is great, because if someone's like, oh, I forgot Margaret. Yeah. And then they go to my LinkedIn where they know me, or my Instagram, or, they go back to that email that they saw and they're like, oh my gosh, she's still in business.
Yeah.
She and I, it's time.
Yep.
Yep. Love that, Lisa. Okay. So send out 3 ships a day, Saturdays and Sundays as well, or just Monday through Friday?
Right now, I keep it Monday through Friday. The captains need a break. The crew needs a break on the weekends.
Lisa, that's such a great tip. I really love that. Send out 3 ships a day.
Good.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing. And thank you so much for being here and giving us your time. I appreciate you. And I learned a lot about you in this call. So I look forward to, seeing you soon, maybe one day in person at a NABO National event.
God, I hope so. Yeah. I'm working on it, Margaret.
Yeah,
I'm working on it. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, awesome. But anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We both love what we do. We both love serving the community, and and that's why Lisa's here, because we have a kindred spirit in that way.
Yes.
So, thank you again. My name is Margaret Hernandez, and I want to remind you to be wildly excited about the possibilities.
Bye. Bye.